peace everyone, and thank you for coming back. Through the hikmat of the scientifically proven Arabic Quran, we have found out that Pharaoh dynasty did not build the pyramids, but Suleiman's jinns did. This is an awesome hikmat from Allah, because no one knows about the builders of the pyramids. And they are all following only the conjectures of their limited brains, without any proofs. In the last tape we were visiting the chambers inside the Giza pyramid. Now, let us go to the Grand Gallery. It is a hallway, 46 meters long, with the height of 8.5 meters. Made of limestone. At the base, it is 2 meters wide. Then, the limestones are laid at a slightly steeper angle, with each layer starting up from the floor, so each stone fits into a perfect slot, cut in the roof of the gallery. There are 7 of these steps, so at the top of the Grand Gallery is only 1 meters wide. Maybe jinns are hinting us about 7 universes, and number 7, which is the very important number in the Arabic Quran. Each block supports the others around it, not only by the base of the block alone. The lower portion of the walls are made of polished red granite stones, and topped with granite beams. Pay attention please. Just imagine, at this moment, we are standing under 2 million heavy limestone rocks, weighing more than 50 million tons of pressure, on top of our heads. Which was made by Suleiman's jinns. This is unbelievable. The roof, and the lower layers of this chamber, was built with very heavy, red granite rocks, transported from, as 500 miles away from Cairo. Now let us go to the king's chamber. This chamber is 10.5 meters, from east to west, and about 5 meters, north to south. It has a flat roof of 6 meters above the floor. About 1 meter above the floor there are 2 narrow shafts, in the north and south walls. The purpose of these shafts is not clear. They appear to be aligned toward stars, or areas of the northern and southern skies. The king chamber is entirely faced with red granite. The roof made of 9 slabs of granite stone, each granite block weighs as heavy as 40 cars. These blocks have been put together, without any cement. And not a razor blade can go between them. The only object in the king's chamber is a rectangular red granite, one corner of which is broken. They call it the sarcophagus, or stone coffin. But they are just guessing. Now listen here, this object is slightly larger than the ascending passage, which indicates that it must have been placed in the chamber before the roof was put in place. Above the roof are 5 compartments known as relieving chambers. The first 4, like the king's chamber, have a flat roofs, formed by the floor of the chamber above, but the 5th one has a pointed roof. They assigned a name for each relieving chambers. From the lower to the upper, they are called Davison, Wellington, Nelson, Lady Arbuthnot, and Campbell's chamber. It is believed that as far as the engineering-wise, the compartments were intended to safeguard the king's chamber from the possibility of a roof collapsing under the weight of stone above the chamber. These chambers were not finished. Those red granite blocks, brought from as 500 miles away, to the Giza plateau. The red granite unique property is that it does not change of time, and its dimensions stay the same. This means the Great Pyramid secrets could be transmitted through the ages. Thank Allah for giving these awesome knowledge to the jinn beings. They knew their stones for sure. Speaking of Aswan, there is an unfinished monument, left in the Aswan quarry, 500 miles away from the pyramid. This piece of red granite stone is 42 meters long, and weighs 1,300 tons. Subhanallah for the knowledge given to the jinns, in order to carve, shape, and then move these heavy rocks, in a blink of an eye. Jinns first carved the stones in the quarry. As you see, it is like they were scooping an ice cream. They had an especial knowledge to do that, and then they moved them to the site, 500 miles away. But this one was left unfinished. Why? Also, we said, the subterranean chamber was left unfinished, and with the unfinished niche in there. Also we just said, that the relieving chambers were unfinished as well. But, why? Now, do you remember the ayah in Surah 34? It said, so, when we decreed death upon Suleiman, jinns had no clue that he had died. Not until one of the animals tried to eat his staff, and he fell down. Then the jinns realized that he was dead. They thus realized that if they really knew the unseen, they would not have remained in the humiliating retribution. It says that jinns cannot see when the angels of death come. Otherwise, they would have stopped working as soon as Suleiman died. But, at the time of Muhammad, jinns could see those invisible angels when they came down to help him. It seemed like that Suleiman died in today's Egypt. And that was his last place on earth, which he left as all those pyramids and buildings. And the people used to live around that area were the last ones on earth that he delivered Allah's message to them. That was why those chambers, and that monument in Aswan, left unfinished, because jinns found out that Suleiman was dead, so they left. Thank Allah for leaving us these hikmat in the Arabic Quran, in order to direct us to the correct knowledge. But, we do not know, who were those people, used to live there. And what year was it exactly? Now, if you were given the jinns to build for you anything you wish, what would be the probability that you would choose to build a pyramid with chambers? Probably 0. Do you see my point? Then, why Suleiman ordered them to build those chambers? Here is another proof from the scientifically proven Arabic Quran. Again in Surah 34, we read, jinns made for Suleiman anything he wanted. Chambers, statues, deep pools, and heavy cooking pots. O family of David, work to show your appreciation. Only a few of my servants are appreciative. The word, mihrab, has couple of meanings, and one of them, according to the Arabic Quran, means chamber. Therefore, the reason jinns built the Giza pyramid, with those chambers, was because Allah wanted to show us something completely unimaginable. That is why Allah used the word mihrab in this ayah, in order to direct us to those chambers in the Giza pyramid. Make sure ask Allah to purify you, and study the Arabic Quran, and ask Allah to teach you the Arabic Quran, instead of studying other people's Quran. Otherwise, you would not be able to receive any hikmat from the Arabic Quran. I remember around 19 years ago, Allah gave us another important information about pyramids builders. Let us go to the Great Sphinx of Giza. The Sphinx is the largest statue in the world. It is 20 meters tall and 73 meters long. As you see, it is a statue of a lion, with a head of a man, with mane. So it would look like a lion's mane. Now, as we all know, the lion is the king of all the animals on earth. But, when you put a human head on it, it means that there was a man used to live here, who was the king of the whole world. That is why Suleiman was going to tell us that the man you read about him in your scripture was here some time ago. This is so obvious to the ones who study the Arabic Quran. Thank Allah for his unending hikmat. This statue was buried under the sand, and around 1900 they started to dig it out of the ground. They gave it a Greek name, Sphinx, meaning living image. This one-piece stone statue is covered with solid bedrock. It has been repaired many times. This human king was built in the middle of a large square, which was digged in the lower ground. They say the walls around it was destroyed through weathering, and rain made those erosions. But, I think Suleiman ordered the jinns to make a deep pool around the statue, like this. Then again referring to the Surah 34, we read, jinns made for Suleiman anything he wanted. Chambers, statues, deep pools, and heavy cooking pots. Here so far, we have the chambers, statues, and deep pool. We found out that building the pyramids was the last masterpiece built by Suleiman's jinns, because of his death. Therefore, Suleiman was flying to different parts of the world, and left some monuments in order to be a sign for us. Now, during his journey, he was with his birds, and his elders, or advisors, meaning, jinn beings. So he learned a lot from them, while he was traveling with them. That is why, the most important ancient monument on earth, are the pyramids. Because, that was his last job. And the importance of it, is because, at that time he acquired the most knowledge that he could, from the birds and jinns. These creatures brought knowledge from the other side, and they were not destined to forget anything. Let us try to think, like how Suleiman was thinking at that time. And Allah blessed us with the Arabic Quran, therefore, we have all the information we need, in the blessed Arabic Quran. The most important hikmat of this part, is, that these creatures were not made to forget, when they came over here, on earth. But only insan, or humans, were the ones who were destined to forget, when they kicked out of the heaven. That was why Allah assigned animals with totally different way of communications, so we could not find out from them, what was going on, in the high society. Also we cannot communicate with jinns, either. We are not even allowed to see them. But, Suleiman could see them and ask them questions about the past, because, they were forced to be under his commandments. But, jinns do not know the future. As you remember, jinns said, we do not know if anything good, or bad going to happen on earth. This is how, Suleiman was giving a kingdom, that no one, was given on earth, ever. I hope you understand the importance of this hikmat. Oh, my Lord! Allah be glorified. I just received an awesome hikmat. Do you remember, Surah 33, or 72? It says, we have offered there nat to the skies and the land, and the mountains, but they refused to bear it, and they were afraid of it. But, the insan, bear it, he was wicked, ignorant. Now, the meaning of nat in the Arabic language, is, to trust someone, with something. Like, can I trust you, with my diamond ring? Or, can I trust you, with my house, while I am gone? This ayah is telling us, that before we came here, Allah asked, the skies, the land, and the mountains. Not the angels, nor Iblis, nor the trees and the animals, but only, them. And Allah asked them, can I trust you with my earth? They said, no. We are afraid to take this offer. Yet, human said, I will bear it. I will take your offer. Why? Because, insan, is stupid and wicked. But, the important hikmat, that we get from this ayah, is, that, there were land, sky, and mountains, up there, before we came here. Subhanallah. Everything we need is in this Arabic Quran. Thank Allah. Remember, this event happened, before, Allah made the decision to put a human Khalifa on earth. That is why, jinns have much more knowledge, about the stones, stars and everything else on earth, because it is very similar to where they came from. And they have lived, much longer than us. That is why, they are much more knowledgeable than us, and the most important, they did not forget their knowledge when they came here on earth. Think of it this way. Shaitan was with Adam, and his wife in the heaven, when he duped them. Therefore, he remembers, when, him, and Adam, and his wife were kicked out of the heaven, and came down to the earth. Therefore, jinns know the time, when Adam, and his wife received their souls in their bodies by the blessed, Ruh, on earth. Because, again, jinns were not made to forget the past. That is why, the human messenger said, I had no knowledge, when the noble ones in the high society, disputed. Because, insan, do not remember anything. In the next tape, you are going to hear, an exciting hikmat from the Arabic Quran, inshallah. Until then, peace.